Have you ever got like a really good scar? Let's talk about that. Good morning, Crossroads students. It's Monday, and we're coming back with you with another devotional this morning. I personally, when I get cut and it's like a bad cut, I don't like to bleed. I don't like cuts or anything like that. But the scar is always interesting to me. Like, I don't know why. I just think scars are cool. Like, because scars come with a cool story. And when I was younger, I was working with my dad, and we did a lot of junk removal. Like, we'd go into houses and like clean out basements and crazy stuff like that. And it's amazing what people would get rid of that was just completely okay to use. And so this particular day, the stuff we were hauling away was not really okay to use. And so we took it to the dump, and we backed up to this giant hole in the ground is basically what it was. And it was like a trash compactor at the bottom. If you've seen Star Wars, it was exactly like that scene in Star Wars Episode 4 where they fall into the trash compactor and it starts like closing in. And so we're throwing stuff in. My dad's like, we need to empty this truck. I was like, all right, sounds good. So we start throwing stuff in. And I walked up, I had something heavier, and I threw it in. And I turned around to walk back to the truck. And as I turned, someone inside the truck threw something to the giant hole in the ground. And when they threw it, a piece of it broke off and just hit me right in between the eyes. And I just remember it hurt so bad, and like my vision went blurry, and like I couldn't really see. And so like I walked back to the truck to sit down for a second to try and like collect my thoughts and like get back into my right mind. And I was like holding it, and all of a sudden I just felt wet, and I looked, and there was just blood all over my hand. And to this day, if you see me in person sometimes, you'll notice that in between my eyes I have this scar, and that's what it's from. And no one really knows who threw it because I was not able to remember. I mean, I was hit so hard, and now I have this scar, and I had to get stitches and everything. But you know what's interesting? I was just doing what my dad told me to do. I was just doing what my dad wanted me to do. And sometimes in our lives, we commit to being Christians and we follow Jesus, and then we take a further step and we say, Jesus, I believe you're calling me to do this. Maybe it's Jesus, you're calling me to pursue this college, or you're calling me to love people, or maybe it's you're calling me to be a pastor or a missionary. Maybe it can be anything. God calls us all to different things. But sometimes along the way, that call gets really, really challenging. That call gets really difficult. And while it was once easy, now that calling becomes difficult. And I don't know what that is for you in your life, but I can promise you, if you haven't felt difficulty in where God has you, you will. If you haven't felt trials hit you yet, here's some encouragement, you will. And sometimes when we feel difficulty or oppression or something hitting us that we think shouldn't be there, we start to doubt what we once believed God called us to do. Right? I could have said, Dad, why did someone hit me in the head with that? Because I was just doing what you told me to do. But it wasn't on purpose. It just went along with the job. It was an accident. But there's a Bible verse I want to share with you, and it's Romans 11:29. It says this. And this is actually the verse that my pastor gave to me when I decided that I wanted to be a youth pastor and do what I do. This is what he wrote me a letter, and he said, hey, I think this is awesome that you're following God's call, but I want you to know that the gift and the calling of God is without repentance. And that's Romans 11:29. The gifts and the calling of God are without repentance. What does that mean? It means God doesn't take back what he calls you to do. As simply put as it is. And he said, listen, the devil and people and life is just going to get in your way day after day, and it's going to seem like you're doing the wrong thing. But if you truly believe God is calling you to do what you're doing, you need to follow him. And so that's my encouragement for you this morning. I don't know what you're going through right now. Because I don't know where you're sitting or who you're living with, right? Or the grades you're getting or the summer that you're walking into. I don't know. I really don't know. But I know if you're anything like me, sometimes you can feel that difficulty in life. And you can begin to doubt what God once told you to do. Corrie ten Boom said this, and it's just such a great quote. Never be afraid to trust an uncertain future to a certain God. And that's my encouragement for you this morning is sometimes you're going to be walking in life and it's just going to feel uncertain. But remember what God called you to do. And remember who God called you to be. And no matter what happens, keep God at the forefront of all you do. And he'll take care of you. And so that's my encouragement to you this morning. I know it gets rough, and I know it gets challenging, and life is hard sometimes. And so if you need more encouragement, don't hesitate to reach out to your leaders here at Crossroads, because I say this every week. We are here for you, and we want to be with you during this time and during the difficulties that life brings, because that's why we're here. We want to help you. And so with that being said, I'll leave you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday, and we will see you soon.